Hello and welcome to Deconstructed, where we take a list that WatchMojo's actually already done and then we break it down entry by entry to see why things placed where they did and discuss. Today we are doing the top 10 franchise rivalries of all time. Video game franchise rivalries, of course. Let's take a look at the ranking. Plenty to discuss as usual. Let's talk to our panel right now. Today we got Jem,
Hello.
Who is in charge of social media and PR, kinda.
A bunch of different things.
Yeah, he does stuff. He does stuff here. And Andrew, who is our mid-level editor. Not senior, not the most senior, not the most junior. He's the third bowl of porridge. Just right.
4.5 feet of editing.
Right. Okay, guys. This list is old. If we were to do this list today, right off the bat, what do you think should be on here?
Well, the big battle royale franchises of our times.
Right?
Yeah, the ones that are suing each other.
The ones that are suing each other.
So the other one.
PUBG versus Fortnite.
That sounds like a rivalry to me.
It does sound like a rivalry to me.
Yeah, that would be pretty high, even though it's like the trending one, and we try not to put like
the
trending
trendiest thing at the top.
Number one.
Yeah.
It still would be at the top.
I don't think any of the other ones are suing each other or have ever sued each other. You can correct me on that one if I'm completely
I can't
incorrect.
correct you.
I can't correct you because I do not know, but you are correct. They are suing each other, so that's something. That's
a thing that
a legal
exists,
rivalry. Yeah. Any others? I'm trying to think. Like The Witcher versus Elder Scrolls or something. Like I feel like people are having that argument because like they came around. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know because they have to be franchises that have been around for a long time. Too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Our list is pretty good because all these games are still being made.
Pretty solid.
Yeah,
a lot of these rivalries aren't really relevant anymore. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So let's get to it.
Let's do it.
All right, talking about franchise rivalries that don't exist anymore. I actually wonder. I mean, everyone else can see the ranking better than I can, but I feel like Blizzard is responsible for just taking out so many competitors in so many genres.
It's so true.
Like.
Yeah.
I mean, this was I'd say Starcraft was more of a rivalry with Command & Conquer, but by the time Starcraft 2 rolled around, Command & Conquer was conquered.
Disappeared already.
But they'd sort of screwed themselves over with just a series of like mediocre, subpar games.
Yay.
Yeah, so there's not really any competition here anymore. But I mean, back at the time there was.
Would you say that there's a rivalry in real-time strategy? I mean, we've got the Warhammer games. No, excuse me, the Total War games. Not really, eh?
Even
it's
then, no,
MOBAs. Now it's all MOBAs.
Yeah.
MOBAs took over real-time strategy.
Which are on the list. So I guess this is the one we would take off and put Fortnite in Battle Royale.
If you
Fortnite
guys had to
PUBG.
choose, I mean...
I can't see a way which Command & Conquer gets to be the winner.
It's true.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Red Alert. Really liked Command & Conquer Red Alert.
Don't get us wrong, I guess. These games are both very fun to play.
But yeah, it's
But
just like...
you just can't beat.
You can't beat StarCraft.
No
one has. Moving on, gentlemen. And here we have the hottest rivalry of 2008.
Oof.
Yeah, okay, which one of these games, refresh my memory, which one had a comeback recently? Was it Rock Band or was it Guitar Hero?
I think it was Guitar Hero with the live action actors.
Okay.
Like they shot it.
They shot live action actors.
I think it was
instead of
Guitar Hero.
Man, this really shows how much we care about this genre these days, eh?
But I never gave it. I was terrible at these games. Like absolutely awful. So I never liked them.
Well, go ahead, John.
I was kind of good at them. Like one thing I noticed was like I can also like play the actual guitar.
Right.
And like this one is more difficult than playing the actual guitar sometimes.
Sometimes.
Generally. If you're playing it at like the hardest difficulty.
Well, yeah, the hardest difficulty is like...
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But like, can you really think playing Through the Fire and the Flames on Guitar Hero is more difficult than playing Through the Fire and the Flames on guitar?
Well, if you know how to play the guitar, a guitar is more intuitive because you know what sounds it will make. Yeah, these are just like...
These are just essentially random
It
button
confuses
presses.
you if you
We
know how to play
are
the guitar.
off topic. Let's bring it back here. Rock Band essentially just one-upped Guitar Hero so hard, though, by like adding in the karaoke elements, adding in the drums. It's a real shame, but all that stuff is sitting in somebody's garage these days. A lot of plastic controllers.
I don't know, there's still streamers out there who do...
who play Dark Souls with it.
Or, play the actual thing with like modded songs and shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's out there if you're interested.
But now it's a niche. Now it's a niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Okay, this one is mercifully a bit more relevant, but it is nonetheless rather niche. I feel like driving sims I feel like racing games is a niche within gaming, a relatively small underrepresented niche, dare I say, and the racing sim therein is pretty niche within that.
Also, what's funny about this one is it's kind of limited to just whichever console you own.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even about the game itself.
And
it's about just which one you can play.
If I hazard a guess, like I'd say that this is not going to be the first time the rivalry comes down to which console your parents bought you.
Definitely not. No. There's a couple more of those on this list. I mean, for me personally, I'm a Gran Turismo fan just because that's the one I grew up with because I had a PlayStation. Right. And I stayed with PlayStation. I never got an Xbox. So I can't really speak to one or the other, though. But it is a strong rivalry. It's just it's artificial.
A strong rivalry. What's interesting about simulator games is that because they're aspiring to recreate something that is real and like kind of tangible, I find it's not as well suited for a rivalry just because like it makes sense just to pick the best most recent one, right? Like the one that's doing the closest thing to it is got to be good. I know. Okay, I think Forza's doing better than Gran Turismo these days because they had a bad release, right? They had a bad release with a bunch of bad DLC in it.
Yeah, Forza is the one that kind of is winning right now.
But it's also for Xbox One and things are not happening. Well, you know what? If you own an Xbox One, I'm very sorry. Not very sorry, but oh God, I'm just digging a hole. Let's move on to the next entry. Stop digging, Dan. So, okay, the last entry I was like, well, they're emulating a real thing. So the closest thing to emulating a real thing is probably the one you should play. I kind of take it back for this entry because I feel like these are actually going for slightly different things. EA always is trying to chase the largest market possible. Right. So I find their games are made to be a little bit more accessible. And I actually don't have a huge amount of experience with Pro Evolution Soccer or football, but I'd say that they're definitely trying to, that's the wedge they're trying to put in. They know they're the underdog. They're trying to aim at being the more heavy sim, serious kind of thing.
PES was the first soccer game I played in Turkey, and like everyone was playing that over FIFA at the time.
Really?
This was like 2006, 2008.
Do you think it's just because Konami has better distribution in Turkey than?
I think it's because people in Turkey don't give a shit about Manchester United.
Yeah, we don't. Well, that's not necessarily true.
But that's a big aspect of FIFA. Like this. If I have to pick a favorite franchise rivalry, which is a stupid thing to pick a favorite of, but I really like how these two games play off of each other because if you're talking about like realism, well, do you mean realism as in like the teams, the players, the locations, the announcers, the jerseys, everything makes it feel like you're playing something that you're watching on TV, whereas PES has more realistic like physics and passing and shooting. And
that's something that's actually an interesting point I think you bring up. Like EA, they don't make sports simulators that simulate you playing the sport. They make watching sport simulators. They make it so that like they're simulating the experience of watching ESPN or TSN or whatever you have.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's more? Because also FIFA 17 kind of sucked. So that's, I think, what gave PES a little bit more headroom in the debate.
Contentious.
Well, but FIFA 18 is good.
Okay.
FIFA 18 fixed some of the problems that FIFA 17 had, but I think
we'll just have to see what FIFA 19 comes up with. Sorry, yearly
supposed to come out this year.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. What do you like soccer? Next.
Probably.
All right, so now we cut to the hottest rivalry of 1999.
I didn't realize how dated this.
Yeah, this is a dated list. I mean, well, it just seems that like lately, brands seem less willing to go head to head. They'll like enter a genre, but they always are doing a little bit better of a job at differentiating themselves. Whereas like around the time that Silent Hill 2 came out, it was quite close to how Resident Evil was working. At least in like, if you're watching someone play it, like the games are very similar.
Like you had to really play both of them to understand the difference between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's a shame that PT is never coming out, because that actually looked a heck of a lot like how Resident Evil 7 kind of looked.
I think Resident Evil 7, I mean, this is probably not true, but I feel like Resident Evil 7 came from they heard PT got canceled, and we're like, we're going to jump on that.
I think there's actually a very good chance that actually happened.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, because like they saw that there was a desire to have this product in the industry, and that product was not coming anymore. And people were also super upset with how Resident Evil 6 worked, even though it apparently sold better than Resident Evil 7 because we're garbage and we can't have nice things.
Yeah, the rivalry still exists, at least in the heads of the decision makers.
I guess so. Someone should tell Konami that they have a franchise that they're sitting under. Like, it's a gold mine. Did you guys play Resident Evil 7? Did you guys play Resident Evil 7? Resident Evil 7 was sweet.
You played it more than any of us did.
Yeah.
Probably.
It lasts about, the 7 in the title refers to how many hours it takes to beat the damn game, but still pretty cool. Interesting surprises. I'm willing for this rivalry to reignite, but this might have been the spot that we swapped out for Fortnite and PUBG.
Probably.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe there'll be better candidates later down the road. So I swear these rivalries were relevant when we ranked this list all those years ago. It's just like, oh, nobody's saying Saints Row is really dominating or is the real.
No, Saints Row won, and that's why we don't talk about it anymore.
Oh, right.
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. The one, yeah.
The one that's clearly the parody of the other and also has fallen from public notice.
Well, what's interesting about Saints Row, and I gotta give them credit for this, is that they realized that it was futile to compete directly, at least in tone and style, with Grand Theft Auto. So like they really decided to go as wacky as frickin' possible, which I guess I can commend them for.
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, but it's always like, it must be very frustrating because you're the perpetual underdog. Like Grand Theft Auto is always the gold standard that people hold open world crime games to.
Yeah.
But that's not just the name either. Like, it's not just the label. Like, Grand Theft Auto is not Call of Duty, right? Grand Theft Auto consistently makes really good games and spreads the releases out between them, and, you know, all of them have everything you're looking for in a Grand Theft Auto game.
Right.
They don't just water things down, they build on it. And that's sort of what ultimately hurt Saints Row, is that the difference, like, Saints Row 4 and 3 were like the same engine, the same city.
Yeah, it was just like
all
they
of
added
the
aliens.
same assets. Exactly, they just added aliens. So it's like,
tisk, tisk, tisk.
I mean, at least they probably had a lot of fun making that game.
I guess so. I mean, like, okay, here's the thing.
I had a lot of fun playing
Grand Theft Auto still, in my opinion, has a bit of an identity crisis because they want to please everybody. They want to please people who don't like humor in their games. They want to please people who are just relentless sociopaths or people who need realism, the realism crowd. And I think Saints Row is more aware that it is a video game, and it's there to have. We're here to have a good time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I like I said, I feel like they've positioned themselves nicely. It's like but seriously, no contest. Grand Theft Auto is the most. Grand Theft Auto is the most selling media property like ever, like since the Bible, and I don't think they were really selling those back then. So like, it's just a shame. It's not relevant.
No. Rip.
Rip. Rip.
I cannot wait to see if Sonic's new game can top
Mario Odyssey, and the
yeah.
millions of other games that they've come out, which are all 90% rated, amazing stuff. So hottest rivalry of 1991? Mayhaps.
I mean, here they're working together.
It's not really a hot take for me to say that Sonic has always kind of sucked. Just a big old bag of.
It's a bit of a hot take.
It is a bit of a hot take.
Yeah, it's a hot take.
The only Sonic. Oh my God, Sonic sucks. There we go. I said it. He was made as like he's Poochie. He's Monster Energy drink. He's like, how do we get the kids?
He's radical, dude.
Yeah, he's totally radical, bro. He likes chili dogs and he goes fast. But it's just like, it's just shoot me in the mouth. Like, fucking.
So you had a Nintendo growing up.
Pardon?
You had a Nintendo growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I did, but it's not only. Oh God, I'm crashing the presentation.
Rebecca,
People are messaging us. Ah, Jesus Christ. Okay, pause. We're back. Technical issues aside.
Technical
that was
issues.
Me sitting on the keyboard. Yeah, I guess that was the universe smiting me for hating on Sonic, but I'm going to keep going. Screw the universe. Having a character based on speed in a genre based on precision and timing is really, really stupid.
Yeah, the best parts of Sonic are kind of when it plays it. I remember as a kid, I don't want that's
when it plays
when
itself.
As a kid, when it's playing itself and it's bouncing through, that was the thing that I was always excited to get.
And then you bounce into some spikes, and you're like, "Oh, my rings are gone!" Ah.
So there's some control involved, I guess.
I guess so.
But
do you think this rivalry is healthy today? They're really pushing each other to innovate.
No.
I mean, aren't they like playing along these days? Wasn't like Sonic in the Smashes? Maybe he'll be in the next Smash.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he would be a perfect character for Smash.
I want to see him in a new Mario Kart game, and he runs instead of drives a car.
That'd be so good.
Everybody else drives a car, Sonic runs. I think that is a fair sort of homage to the character.
I'm just trying to see, how are you gonna swap out the wheels on Sonic?
Shoes.
Different color shoes.
Different colored shoes.
Yeah, the wheels are different colored
colored
shoes.
hairs.
He carries
or
like the
gloves.
turtle shell. Like he's running with the turtle shell, and he's carrying it in his hand.
I like the idea. I think it's so.
Let's pitch it.
It's pretty safe to say that Mario has won this rivalry. Decidedly, he's never coming back.
I wish I could go back in time and just yell at my friends and
just
be like,
shake a bunch of kids.
Guess what the future holds for Sonic.
The blue boy chokes on his jelly dogs. Did no one watch the cartoon show? Was I the only one who watched the cartoon show?
He's got an attitude.
Wait, because there were two. You know what? We'll talk about this later. Next entry. 7 entries down, we get to something relevant.
Yes.
Here we go.
Hello.
League of Legends versus
tired
Dota.
Sorry, I'm kind of tired of talking about this.
You're kind of tired of talking about this? Andrew was the guy who actually played both. He had friends who played both, and he was forced to play both frickin' games. So
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And you played Smite. Do you think the world is as sick of MOBAs as like the general public is? Because everyone got sick of MOBAs during the craze, but then the craze kind of died. Thoughts, gentlemen, thoughts?
Well, it's the same as how the battle royales are being treated today, I would say.
Yeah. So you're going to say, so in 2 years, people are going to be really pissed off about all those driving sims that are taking over the world.
Probably. There's always going to be something.
Yeah.
Okay. Time for some hot takes. Who's picking what?
Oh, League of Legends, I think, absolutely wins between the two. Not that Dota 2 isn't really good and doesn't have its own merits that put it above League of Legends in certain areas, but overall, League of Legends is the better game, period.
Okay.
I kind of was a fan of Dota over League of Legends.
You're a big Warcraft fan, though.
Yeah.
So did you naturally go from Frozen Throne to the mod to Dota 2?
I guess that's what drove me more into the game, and I don't know, the aesthetics of Dota appeal to me more than the aesthetics of League of Legends also.
Okay, quick bullet point reasons why you guys like one or the other. Go.
I think League of Legends just has a much better, more clear art style, and League of Legends does a much better job at keeping itself balanced and releasing more content and making sure that content is always fresh and
I said bullet
shaking
points.
it up.
That's machine gun. All right.
I like the aesthetic better. It's also the first one I played for a long time. It was there on Steam, so I mean, my choice in this case is not very much based it's not an educated choice.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
But still, I'd go for Dota over LOL.
Let us know in the comments. Dota, LOL, screw MOBAs. What's your opinion?
I think screw MOBAs is going to win.
Screw MOBAs?
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to win. Gentlemen, Call of Duty versus Battlefield. Okay, these are games that are definitely going after the same demographic, but they do it in different ways. One innovates and the other just iterates. Yeah, I'm a Battlefield fan. I don't think I really have to explain that. I just like a little bit more of the freedom. The problem with Call of Duty is I'm always hyper aware, and I'm talking purely about multiplayer now. I'm hyper aware at how tight and small the arenas are. Like right. I can't help but feel like I'm in a laser tag arena that's just very well dressed up. Like it doesn't feel like a real place. It feels like a very well-designed laser tag.
But if you're into that kind of thing, then Call of Duty is definitely for you.
And this is funny because this is one of those exceptions where they're going after the same demographic, but at the same time, their approach seems to be vastly different.
Well,
would you say?
It's like you said, they're very, very, very different games, and it's kind of a weird. I don't think it's really fair to compare the two as games. Besides the fact that they're going after the same demographic, they want the same people
Call of Duty
buying
World
them.
War II came out this last year, and then last year in 2017, and this year we're getting a new Battlefield 5 in World War II. So they're definitely approaching the same subjects. A lot of Tommy guns.
Well, like one thing I think Call of Duty has going for itself is I've always found the single player mode of Call of Duty to be better than the Battlefield.
Have you tried the Battlefield 1 single player mode?
I did, and that was very good. And like I am a sucker for a good single player campaign because I am not that great at multiplayer, to be perfectly honest. And like Call of Duty always delivers when you want that like very cheesy like early 2000s style action movie.
Yeah, it's Michael Bay.
Yeah, and like you get to be in there, you shoot things, you feel really good about yourself because you're such a good
good
fighter.
about yourself for shooting things.
Because you're such a good soldier, right? So that's why I don't know. I never got that feeling in Battlefield because Battlefield is like it's real, right? You die in Battlefield, whereas in Call of Duty you just go in and storm and destroy everyone.
Yeah, I never liked the stories for really either. I played the Battlefield 1 campaign and it felt a lot like a Call of Duty one to me. I guess this definitely comes down to preference. I just feel Battlefield. I'm just a little bit more down for the wide openness and like the slightly larger emphasis on team play. Because I've never been the twitchiest guy. Like you said, you're not great at multiplayer. I've never been someone who's just like, it's all about your KT ratio. I'm just like, I'm going to capture A. Because I'm a good team player. I gave out med packs. That's my style. But I guess this is one of those ones, like I said, it's funny that they're so opposed because they really are very different.
Yeah.
But I guess they figure that like, you can only buy so many shooters in late October, early November, just before Christmas, so you're going to have to pick one. Okay, so final entry. Not the most popular genre anymore. I'd say fighting games, tournament fighters, not exactly the biggest. But I'd say this rivalry is still alive and well. And like people have a definite preference.
Yeah.
Would you say?
I always wonder, because like my preference goes all the way back from Mortal Kombat 1 versus Street Fighter 2.
Right.
I was playing both of those games at the same time, and I preferred one franchise over the other. I wonder now where people, maybe you guys can tell me this in the comments, where people, like if you're a fan of one or the other, where did that begin? Did that begin with Street Fighter 3, 4, Mortal Kombat 9?
Yeah, because it's hard to... You'd think that like a lot of people have like just a lot of nostalgia for one or the other, and their loyalty stems from the fact that they liked one thing at first and then had that for a very long time. I think Mortal Kombat converted a lot of kids early on for the shock value, and I feel like that
it's edgy.
It's super edgy. It's super edgy. It's super freaking violent. I mean, the violence is really the centerpiece, the mortality part of the combat. And I think that converted a lot of people early on, and I think that's probably why the popularity continues. Because from an outsider's perspective, I'm not an expert in tournament fighters, but I would say that Street Fighter seems like the deeper fighting game. I don't know if I'm stepping on anyone's toes by saying that, but and that's more just because it seems like Street Fighter is more about the actual fight, whereas Mortal Kombat seems to be about these climactic moments, either the fatality or the X-ray things that happen in the games now. It's not so much about the struggle, but what happens at the end. Does that make sense?
I kind of agree with that. And also like in terms of like tournament and like combativeness of the things, like I associate Street Fighter more with arcade boxes than Mortal Kombat, but that could just have to do with the arcades that I've frequented.
But I mean, well, Street Fighter is doing a better job at being an esport, so maybe that says something to where they're going in terms of depth.
Which is funny. Like, I think they're definitely, that's where they're going, because that's where the money is in esports, which is really funny because Mortal Kombat X or 10 is a very recent game, but you never got the sense that they were really pushing it as an esport.
Yeah. Well, we probably couldn't find a lot of sponsors with all those blood and gore in the game.
Right, and that's actually interesting. You think they're having trouble with that?
Because they can't. Do you think there's some executives who are like, "Oh, you have to take the violence out, so our sponsors will look at it." And
That's
it's
really
like,
interesting
well,
because, like,
I
you
don't know.
can't.
It's a valid concern for a lot of companies.
It's a valid concern for a lot of companies. Like, your stuff might be demonetized if you put the graphic content from Mortal Kombat in there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Guys, let us know in the comments what rivalries you think we forgot. Let us know which ones you like better. We got 10 entries. You must have some opinions about some of those things. Let us know. Are we wrong? Does Sonic really suck? Of course he does. But anyway, gentlemen, anything to add before we go?
If you guys have any modern rivalries that we're not thinking about because we're all old,
Yeah.
let us know.
Like,
That'd be great.
that'd be great. We're
Please
not
tell
that
us.
old.
We want to stay relevant.
We're going to be relevant. We're going to be on the Snapchats and getting the, oh God, playing the Fortnites and doing the things. So please subscribe because we're terribly relevant, super modern, and we love
We're playing
you
Dark
guys.
Souls 1 right now.
We're replaying game from 2011. That's what we're doing. Jem, Andrew, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thanks
you.
for having us.
And thanks for watching this far if you've made it. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.